day's work. So, like I have said, if there are new students, my name is Brother Charles. I teach geography and we meet usually from 2 to 4. So, I want to go through the work of last time to just make a few observations on what I have seen. One is that some of us still have a problem, or they have a challenge in the title. We get the title. How do we get the title? The title is got in the question. The question is given in the question is given by saying maybe the table below shows this and this. That's why you get the title. So the title is a divergent bar graph showing maybe Kenya's mineral deposits in 1997, if that is what it gives. Some people are having a challenge on that. Then there are also issues of scale. When we are writing scale, we write 1 centimeter or 2 centimeter represents. Please write that word in full. Write the word in full. Please, I request someone who has just joined, unmute yourself so that we don't have an echo. Please unmute yourself if you have just joined. I don't know whether Katha is the one who has just joined. Please unmute yourself. Please, I request that if we are all here, let's all unmute ourselves so that we are able to listen very well. Thank you. So, I was trying to explain that when it comes to scale, vertical scale, put VS. If the space is small, you put VS to mean vertical scale, but you have to represent it on the key. The same to the horizontal scale. You put HS to mean horizontal scale. Put it on the key. For us, we shall understand that. That is why we put the key. But if you choose to put it, then put vertical scale, 1 centimeter represents. Please don't write REP. Because REP may mean something else, may mean rest in peace or rest in eternal peace. Write the word represents 2 centimeters. Or horizontal scale is 2 centimeter, write the word. Fine. Then the third one that I also want, we should be able to label our vertical axis and also our horizontal axis. We say that on the vertical axis, we label the units that have been given to us. If the units or the things that have been given to you, the values are maybe representing minerals, maybe in thousands or in tens, then you say mineral, production of minerals in thousands, production of crops in thousands on the vertical scale. Then on the horizontal scale, it is years. Some of us are forgetting, but that is a mark. If you don't label it, then you are going to miss out on the mark. So it is key and it is important. Then I want also to talk about the issue of the trend. Please, it is not true that all of the trend will have the things we talked about. Like, let me share my screen. Oh, just a minute. Can I know whether you are all able to see my screen?
Yes, sure.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, like we said last time, when it comes to trend, let me just get there, just a minute. Like here, that's what we looked at last time. And we said when describing the trend, there is something that we focus at, whether there was an increase or a decrease. It can be a general increase. It can also be something that there is a sharp, but it's not true that all of the work you will be given will have all of the three things. You remember we talked of the high, moderate, and low, or high and low. It can be possible that one time they can give you work which is having both the three, but it is also possible that they can give you work which doesn't have any of them. So it's not a must. If they ask you to give the trend may keep changing depending. The trend is like, how does the graph or the particular values that have you been given, how do they change in the positive way and in the negative way, but maybe generally. So I don't want you to say that you, for every work or for every graph that you're going to be given is going to have those things. I saw some students who were having challenges on this. Two, I also want to encourage their students who join the athlete. And if you join the athlete, it is important you interact with these other students to help you, give you. And if you have a challenge, you inbox me. I can also send you the links to the different works we have done for the past, I think now 2 months, so that you are able to see everything. So it becomes very hard because one student was requesting that, is it possible for us to repeat? I said no, because it takes us a lot. The work we have done is for 8 weeks. Now we cannot do it in 1 week. So those ones we can make private arrangements and we send you this work, you go through them and then we try to see how to go about it. So those are the things that I wanted to observe. Please, I want to encourage you, do as more work as possible. It does not even make you bad to repeat the same work. I want to thank one student called Kenneth. I was telling him that now you should work upon trying to see that you improve on time. Even that work, for example, that question is supposed to be out of, you're supposed to work that in 45 minutes if it is in an examination. But remember that that is part A, but we have part B and maybe part C. So are you able to do that work within about 40 minutes? That would be key. Please, may I request someone who has just joined to unmute yourself, please, when you enter. Unmute yourself so that we are able to listen to one another. So basically, those are the things that I observed in the last week's work. For those of you who did the work and sent it, please, it was a good thing. For those of you who did not do it, please, this time, try to make it a point and do it. Like I said, more practice, the more you get, you perfect into this work. So we want to take ourselves to the sex and age. This is another method. Let me just try to see if I can. These are called the age and sex graphs. Sometimes some people call them as the population pyramids. Now, it's a common thing which you have done at the ordinary level. Some of you, the students, have done this. Maybe some did not do it, depending on the schools we went to. But I want to think that at least every one of you has been able to do this and you have some knowledge about this. So what happens is that what we are calling as age and sex graphs, I want to give an explanation before I do this, because some of these things you may easily understand when I share with you than maybe sometimes reading this. But if you have a phone, you can take a shot so that you are able to read at your own. What we refer to as age and sex graphs are graphs that represent population. And actually, these graphs are made in a way that you will find that on one side, you will have a representation of male, and on another side, you will have a representation of the female. But they are graphs that are showing ages of people vis-a-vis the male and the female. So in most cases, the graph, if we are given information and the information is tabulating or it is giving population of an area, then the best method to represent would be population pyramids. We have simple population pyramids, and we also have complex, or what we call as compound. Members, let's agree, we agreed. Someone on the background, you are having noise. Let's unmute ourselves. Let's be orderly. We are A-level students. We are not O-level students. Let's unmute ourselves so that we are able to listen to one another. Okay. So, like I was explaining now, when it comes to this representation, you will find that you will have one side of the right-hand side having a representation of the female. On the left-hand side, you will have a representation of the male. Then in the middle, you will have the representation of the years. The years can differ depending on the units they give you. It can be 0 to 4, or it can be 10 to 19, or it can be 10 to 20, depending on the information that they give you. But usually, it is in a range of either 5 or 10. Rarely do they give information which is maybe 6 or 9, I mean 6, 8. It is usually in the range of 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 15 to 14, something like that. So that is what we look at under age and sex graphs. How do I tell? Sometimes you name sex questions like use a suitable population. I mean, use a suitable graph. I can only tell if I have been given information and that information is having an age of people and it is also showing a tabulation of female and male. And female and male means that is the gender or it's the sex. So in the representation of that one, any student should understand that if you have been given information which is like that, then it requires you to use the age and sex graphs, all we call as population pyramids. So that is what I wanted to explain so that you vividly get that one. Now, we are saying that this is also called a population pyramid, which I've been trying to explain. And we are saying that in this method, bars are drawn horizontally. We shall later on look at them. Unlike the others where we are concentrating much more on the vertical, these ones are drawn horizontally. The length of the bars correspond to the size of the side, I mean to the size and the side of the graph of the female on one side and the male on the other side. The age groups are plotted in the middle. It's what I've been trying to explain. And it is used to represent population structure and ages of people or of persons. The vertical scale represents the size of the group or the age group, while the horizontal scale represents the age group, usually which is dependent in a 5-year period, which for example can be 0 to 4 or 5 to 9, or it can be 10 to 14. That is one thing that you can do. So that is what we can understand. There isn't a lot of explanation I can make on this. The advantage is that at least a number of you have had some experience about the age and sex graphs. So let's move to the next one. Now, what are the procedures of construction? I want still to insist and also inform your students that it is important for you to know the procedures of construction. Actually, like we revise work for the other ones. This is where you should do your revision. When you are doing revision, to go through these procedures. If I want to construct a population pyramid, what do I do? We are saying that the horizontal axis should be scaled either in absolute values or percentages, depending on what they have given you. When we say scaling it,
sir.
Yes, please.
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead, please.
For the audience, all of us, those people should first mute their microphones. We are not getting you well.
Please, so we are requesting, there are people in the background. There are people in the background, please, who are making a lot of, can we unmute ourselves so that we are able to listen to one another? There is Shamira. Shamira, can you unmute yourself? If not, I'm going to remove you. Shamira. Okay, I want to hope that maybe this, I don't know whether the person has just left the phone. Benjamin, do we have Benjamin? Annibal Black, can you unmute yourself? Annabelle. Okay, if it's so, then I just remove you. Okay, I hope we shall now be maybe okay. So I was trying to explain on the procedures. The horizontal axis should be scaled. What we refer to as scaling is you number it according to the units from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. That's what I'm meaning by scaling it. The males are usually represented on the left. The females on, I beg on your pardon. The males are represented on the left and the females are represented on the right. Here, there is some mistake here. It is on the left for male, female on the right. However, once sex is represented there, there is no problem of plotting on the either sides. If there is, if the plotting either side, so you may not need it. Then for males and the females, the section on each bar must be separated. We are going to look at this. Then the space between them is where the vertical scale in terms of age group is put. On this one, we shall later on look at it. And then we are saying that data may be grouped in form of age groups based on 0 to 4 years, all from 5 to 9 years, 10 to 14, something like that. But we are saying that one key note that one should have here is that we should make it a point that the youngest group is the one which is represented down. Why? Because you cannot move from the youngest. I mean, you cannot move from the above, because usually it would be like 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is better you put the youngest group down as you go on, maybe 0, 4, 5 to 9, 10, something like that as you are moving. That is basically what you do. So now let's try to look at maybe some exercise. Now, this can be the values. This can be the values which you have been given. Let me just move this. I don't know whether you are able to see it. That can be the values. You can be given these values. The table below shows the age structure of population for Japan in 1980. Here, they are giving us the ages. These ages is the one they have now grouped 0 to 4, 5 to 9, up to 80. 80 plus means that it is 80. All the people who have more than 80 years follow within here. So sometimes you can be given this information, but the information is not grouped like this, where it may require you to group it. Here it is already grouped, but in the case it's not grouped and they give you maybe like this and they have given you units, then you may need to group it. But usually, in most cases, this information is always grouped. It comes when it is grouped. But in the case it is not grouped, then you group it yourself. You choose either to use a value of 5, 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, or you use 1 or 0 to 10. I mean 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, something like that, depending on the value and depending. But you should make it a point that at least the values you are going to have on this should be more than 6. Are we together? Then now here you are having males and here you are having what? Females. Now these ones are already in percentages. You see that this is percentages. It is a representation of percentages. That is how the work will be. And then you are seeing that these ones are also in like if you move here is 1.0, then this one is a fraction of 0.7, meaning it is less than what? 1 centimeter. So to do this work is that when you get down here, for example, this is my population pyramid that I was able to do. But how do we get to this? We have said that here you will draw something which is like this, and also draw something here. Now the representation you are putting here are what we are calling as the edge group, and here you will even put it edge group, because this edge group is like something that is representing from 0 to 4, 5 to 6, 10 to 14, as you go on up to 80. Now onto this one, we are representing female, and we are saying that from here, this is what I call as scaling. We are starting from 0, 1, 2. So for every 1 centimeter here, we mark until the 10th, even on this side. So this representation on the horizontal scale is showing the percentage of total population in Japan. Then the vertical, instead of the other one, we are having, like, for example, for vertical, I mean for divergent bar graph, having them here. For them now, they will come in the middle here. Now, on this side, we shall now represent, for example, if we went back here, we are saying that for ages 0 to 4, we are having 9.5. So if we went there, you will find out that here, if we moved this is 1 centimeter, and we moved our 9 will be up to here, 9.5. We label it. I always encourage students that where possible, you can shade it in case you are using, or you draw afterwards, then you shade. Then when we go back, we are now want to represent 8. If we move there and represent the 8, we shall draw another one using a ruler on top of this, that is 8. If we go to another one, 10, between 10 and 14, it is 7.5. 7.5, we are now moving our third one, 7.5. You will do that up to the last, and our last is at 80, we are having 0.7. So 0.7, instead of it being 1 centimeter, you will measure it up 0.7. So that's what you will do on the male. You will also go back and now work on the female side. What does the female side give us? 8.5. You will go to the graph and put here, you roll here, mark off 1 centimeter and make 8.5, which is there. The next one is 0, 5 and 9. It is giving us as 7.5. And then you also do the same as we did on this side. Now, the title is the population pyramid showing population structure of Japan. Remember where we are getting the question. The question has said that the table below shows the age structure of population. When they say age structure, they are like, this is the structure of the people, the ages, and these are the values. So this is where you get your title you are going to use there. So it is a population pyramid or the age and sex graph showing population of Japan in 1980, if it was census or something of the kind. Now, you are looking at down here, you are supposed to label it. Now, assuming this was not in percentages, then you would say population or population in thousands, depending on what they give you in case it's. Now, there is something that is missing here, which I have not put. You are supposed to label this as age group to show that these groups here are showing what? Ages of the different persons that range from 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 30 to 34, up to 80. That is what we are supposed to give. Now, some students tend to do shading that now, here I shade a different color, maybe red, and on this side I shade green. That is not allowed. Where we tell that this is a population is that so long as we have put this male, we shall know. They are what we call as calibrated information. Calibrated information is a unit that is known by everyone. For example, we know that every 1 kilogram has 1,000 grams. It is calibrated information. It is known by everyone. By the virtue you talk of a kilo, we know that every 1 kilo has 1,000 kilograms. So even here, this one, so long as this is a population pyramid, we shall know that if we are representing anything On the left-hand side, you have male. On the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, you have female. So use the same shading on this and also on this. If you decided to use a pencil to shade, the shading should be the same. Don't shade this one, for example, like this, moving this side. And then these ones, you shade them using this side. I don't know whether you are getting my point. One you shade, making the ruler face this side, and you are shading them, maybe let's say using CC, or you are shading them. If you decided to just cross them, then the crossing should be the same, so that you are crossing like this. So if you come this side, they should also face the same direction, not the other and facing the other direction. Okay, I am seeing some questions. Maybe some students. Gloria, turn off here. Okay. Some people to bring in your observation, please. Can you raise up your hand in case you have an issue? You'll unmute yourself if you have questions.
Teacher.
Yes, blessing. Blessed.
I'm requesting for you to pardon how voting.
You want me to pardon on what?
On how you are. I joined in that when you had already started. I'm requesting for you to pardon on how you.
On the plotting. On the plotting.
Because I found you saying you put the males on the left and then you put the females on the right, and I was not understand.
Please, I want to encourage the lecture, the lesson starts at 2. Let's be here in time because we have little time. We want to do, but for your case, we want to repeat. Now, these are the figures that we are given. On this side, we are given edges, and here they are giving us male and female. We are saying that the male, usually on a population, they are represented on the left-hand side, and the female are represented on the right-hand side. It is something that is known by everyone who read a population pyramid. Now, these units that we are having here, 0 to 4, is represented by 9.5. And then on the female, it is represented by 8.5. So when we get here, these are the representation we have for the female. These ones. We are going to represent them on this side. The ones for female, they are on this side. So you construct this. But in here, you are going to put the age groups. The age groups are those, they are these ones that you have been given. These ones are represented in the middle. So they are these ones. So 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15. But every unit here is 1 centimeter. So this side, you are representing female. This side, you are representing males. But the representation you are giving of 0.4 for males, which they have given us 9.5. So the 9.5, you will come here and try to mark them off. So 9.5 goes up to here. This is 9. Then 9.5 will be there. So you get your ruler, add up to here. You go to the second one, 8. If you get a ruler and move this, you will also get up to there. Sorry. Oh. You'll get up to there, something like that. Sorry. 8. So if you get there, you will also mark off the what? The 8, and it will also give us. You will do the same on the also the other side, and then you give that. Then this one has to be labeled, and the title, you have to get that. Okay, can we get some other person? I think Francis, please, let's be precise.
Teacher, do you draw it on a graph paper or you just draw it on a paper?
It is prudent for you to draw it on a graph paper because it will become easy for you to make these ones become very easy for you to label. Okay, number 2.
Teacher, on that space which we live in the age group, do we live like how many centimeters do we live there?
There is no mandatory anything. It depends on the values they have given here. You can decide even to use, so long as you are able to represent it. So long as on this side you are represented, because if you look at this, these are already 10 and these ones are 10. I remember telling you last time that the graph paper is 26 centimeters. So you have to see to yourself that you leave space which is enough, which can be, but there is no value that maybe you use this. You only determine it by yourself. Okay. We have comfort. Comfort. Comfort, make your point. Okay. Victor. Victor Grace. Is Victor Grace there?
Yes, teacher. Teacher, excuse me.
Make a point.
Teacher, for what I'm asking,
Yes.
is it acceptable to enclose the graph in a frame?
As in this side. What is
Yes, teacher.
it is not mandatory, even if you just draw this. This one I'm only being smart. If you do it, you are looking at an organized student, but it's not mandatory that you are supposed to enclose it. So long as this has and this has. This one, even if you don't put it. But you will see that this one is neat.
Yes,
That's
teacher.
not mandatory.
Thank you, sir. Teacher, the next thing is help me share back the question. I want to screenshot.
I'm going to share it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, fine. Do we have who is there? Who is there? Who is there? Mohika.
Okay, so I was asking,
Yes.
like, does order matter when identifying the scale? Like, the scale should appear on top or bottom?
Are you meaning this? You are meaning that here you change this one to here? 80 comes down?
No. Like this scale of horizontal 1 to 1% and the vertical 1 to 1 age group. Should it appear on like top or bottom?
I'm not getting your point very well. I'm not getting your question. Are you meaning that from here to here, or you are meaning here?
No. Like where should the scale appear?
Your network seems not to be clear. I'm hearing, I hear like, but you break.
Are you hearing me? Like here, I'm talking about the scale.
This one here.
No, move down.
This one.
No, the scale showing horizontal and vertical.
This one here.
Down. Down.
Oh, you are meaning how? Okay, I'm using here my. You mean here?
Yes. Is it supposed to appear on bottom or on top?
That one has no issue. It can be here. The preferable one would be here up, because it is easy to see. But it is not mandatory. Even if you put it down, it is marked. But you are only being organized.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have Kasiria? Kasiria Deo?
Yes, teacher. I'm asking that is it advisable to change
Is it advisable to change what?
the graph paper in landscape format?
It is okay. If the graph paper does not appear, for example, if you find out that the graph paper is in a landscape, or it is in a portrait and it doesn't fit, you can change it. But it is important when you change and it is in this format. This is portrait. I mean, this is landscape. This is in landscape. Then the title should also be put like this, not putting the title this side and then you are drawing the graph like this. Please plan before. If you realize that it is too much, then you better use this. It is allowed. Okay. Are there some other questions? Are there some other questions? Okay, let me see in the chat room. I'm seeing some people, I think, putting there some questions. The question, excuse me, teacher, are we allowed to change the graph? I think that one we have already. Okay, fine. Now, that is, we also have what we call as compound population pyramid. The procedure are the same. The only difference is in the, for example, this work is what we have been doing, and someone had told us that we give. This is work for you to do, people. So can you do the screenshot and we run away very fast? Have we seen it?
Yes.
Okay, can I request to unmute ourselves again? We are getting echo. Let's mute ourselves so that we are able to listen to one another. Okay, now, if you look at this exercise, a student who is not very steady can easily get challenged. Because here is...
Excuse me, your voice is low.
My voice is low. Okay.
Can hear you.
Maybe I have never had my student telling me I'm one of the person who is blessed with a very good voice. I can talk without even a microphone.
I think it's a network.
Okay, maybe her network. Now I request that let's look at this work. For example, when you look at this work, it is one thing that a student can get confused because here they have put male, female, and they have put total. Now, a student will think even you need to plot the what? The total. But sometimes this total can only be given for purposes of maybe calculation of percentage change or something like that. So sometimes when students reach here and it is a question, one thinks it is that. Sometimes you never also just put it to confuse students. Because at this level, you must be able to take a decision. What does the question want you to do? So if it is onto this one, you only concentrate on these figures here. And these figures, these ones, leave them. Sometimes they are only used maybe for calculation. They may ask you to calculate the percentage change. Or they may want you to have them for other things. That the totals for all of the people in Kenya, for both male and female, is addition of this and this to get this. So if you are drawing, don't give concentration to the totals. Give concentration to the female and male. I want to think you have drawn that one. Now, that is an exercise. I will require that you draw it, you send it, and we look at it. Now, let's look at compound population pyramids. Sometimes some people call these as superimposed. Why do we call them compound? They are compound because they are going to reflect the population of 2 years. You are having 1960 and 1961 on the same population pyramid. So what we are referring to as superimposing is that you get another year and impose it onto the other graph or onto the other figures that are given. Now this is not common, and you have not done it like the other. A number of students can do the pyramids because you did them at ordinary level. However, the compound population pyramids are not common at ordinary level, and at this level we have them. And you are saying that these population pyramids can be drawn when they are superimposed for purposes of comparisons in the form of location or sometimes time. This means that the pyramid can represent population data for more than or for 2 periods or places. And if this is done, a good method for shading or coloring should be chosen in order for both superimposed bars to be clearly shown. Let's now go to the practical part of it. They can give you information which is like that. The table below shows age structure for UK. for 1901 and 1976. They want to have this represented on the two. You are having this year and this year. You are having the same ages, 0 to 9, 0 to 9. But for this year, you see that the male were having 23. But here the male were having 15. The female was 22. Here it is 13. They want this information to be represented on one compound or on one graph. Why do they bring this? They may want to know what were the changes. They may want to compare that what was the population in 1901 and the population in 1976. Now, there is a course at university called demography, the study of population. We may want to know what is the change of population from this year to year, maybe after 50 years or after 75 years. What is the population? Then we shall be able to tell that in 1901, the population was 23 million people. Yet, now when we realize in 1976, it is 15. And if we are going to make an analysis, then we shall say, what could have had the challenge? Why is it that the population was 23 and it was 15? And now these are the reasoning part. We shall now look at, can you analyze why there was that change from 23 to 15? You will already see that there is a very big change. It is almost about 9 or 7 million. So what brings that? Is it people are now looking at, you will ideally find out that in developed countries, people don't produce like in Africa. The population of Africa is quite different than the one of outside. You will find that sometimes in those developed countries, people will produce too. But me, I know that in my own village, there are people produce a dozen of children. Even you, maybe in your villages, who knows? So this kind of graph can only help us to make comparisons. And therefore, I'm already even giving you the advantages. So now let's try to go through. So this information can be given, and they may want you. Here they have said, use it to construct a suitable graph. Now, in some of the cases, you'll find out that if you are to represent you, then you are going to use a compound population pyramid or a superimposed population pyramid. And how does it look like? It is going to be like that. You remember we are constructing the other one. The same procedure. The only difference is that here, you are now representing this for 1976. And this other one, which is a little bit faint, is in 1901. What do? We shall do the same thing as we draw on this side and also draw on this side. This representation is of female, this representation is of male. But now, instead of us having 1 centimeter, we shall now have 2 centimeters from here to here. But within these 2 centimeters, 1 centimeter will be inside. So those boxes are 5. If you look at your graph, meaning that these are 10 boxes. So we shall take away 3. We shall remain with the 3. And then in this side 2 to represent the one of 1976. Then the other 5 will represent this one will represent 1901 and this one will be 1976. How do we do it? For example, we are having a unit for male 23 in 2001, and in 2001 we are using this 23 is where it is going up to here. We draw it 2 centimeters, but within here, when we go and look at the other unit we are going to represent is 15 for 1976. So 1976, we shall go and represent here, you are 15. You will do the same to the next, which is 12 and 17. So 12 for 1901, we are using this, 12 is here. And then for the other one is 10 to, then the other one is 12, and then the other one is 17. 12, and then 17, something like that. So you will move within here, inside, depending on the years as you go. So it is important that you don't crisscross and you don't have to change this. If you decide this color to be for 1976, it will be for 1976. If this color is for 1901, it has to be for 1901. You will do that on this side and also do that on this side. That is basically what you may require to do. So it is key and important that as you are doing anything, you are also able to tell everything that is there. Okay, so that is basically what you have to work out on. Now, one of the key things that I want to bring to your attention is that this graph can be confusing in the way the arrangement you make. But what I want you to know is that these are 2 centimeters from here to here. Now, the 2 centimeters, every 1 centimeter has 5 small boxes, those small squares. So for you, what you should make it is that the inside part of it, make them 5 centimeters to represent 1 unit for 1976 or for 1901, if you choose. Then the outside one should be for the other. So that when you choose to use this, it should be this route to represent a year which you want, but for male, and even this side for male. The same will be done also on the other side for the females. The years, they cannot give you different years. If they are to give you units, then these units will be the same. That is 0 to 9 for 1901, 23 is that. 22 is that. And then they will also give you for 1976. They cannot give you unit that now this one, 0 to 9 is, and then for this one is 0 to 4. No, it cannot be. So if they give you, then it has to be running out on that. That is what we call as superimposed, and therefore that is what you. Some students, one of the key things when students get some of this work, there is a lot of work and sometimes it takes a lot of time. So when one is doing it, you need to be having some speed. Now, you cannot have speed if you don't do practice. It is only practice which can help you to do all these things. So basically, that is what you look at. That is a superimposed. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but it is a question which can be posed. If you don't do it at this level, you will not do it at university level. Okay, let's take some hands. I'm seeing, I think Comfort is raising up his hand. Yes, Comfort.
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Yes, teacher, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, so supposing the population is recorded in thousands, how do I label? How do I do my title? If I put 1,000 in the title, should I come back down and represent the thousands? How do I label my?
You can put the thousands in the title.
My graph.
You put the thousands in the title here, and then here you only represent this. Ideally, even this data that we have here is not only 23. This is also in thousand. I mean, this one is in the percentages. But in case it's not given, you remove the zeros, the 3 zeros, and you only represent this. And you will put it in the title. But if the work that you have been given, for example, is like this, if they have put it in the percentages, then do work it out in the percentages. But if they are smaller volumes, like maybe 23, like maybe 230, that one you can still draw it. You only have to change this. Instead of it being 0 to 5, maybe you make it 0 to 50, then 100, 150, 200, 230. Or you can even decide to use 60, 120, 180, something. I remember I took you through how we get the scale. So you use that to determine what you want to represent. Any other person?
Okay. So, thank you.
Comfort. I'm seeing Bavidia. Bavidia, can you unmute yourself and share what you have?
Sir, I'm asking you a question. Do we have to balance, like you told us to use 2 centimeters. So you have to make sure that in 1976, we just count the boxes. In the middle.
Now, what I'm saying is, if you get from here to here, these are 10 centimeters. For you, what you have to get is get 5 of these centimeters that are inside be represented. Irrespective of this, I'm having a very big challenge. I'm running short of my battery. So let me just try to see if I can come back on. Let me see if I can get a generator here, because we still have some like an hour. Otherwise, my battery is low and I'm running down. So let me just try to close and I try to see if I can get something. I will get back in a short while. But I was saying you use these units. This one here, so long as these are 10, for you get the 5 inside. But if you choose to make 5 for this unit to be for 1976, then maintain it until it goes. That is all you need. 5 boxes represent 1 centi. I mean, represent 1 unit, 1 year. And then the other one also represent the other year. Now, you are seeing something like this. It means that this year is portraying. It is going through this other year. So what basically you may need is something like that. Just give me a minute. Let me try to ask someone here to run for me the generators. Okay, so is there another person who is having another question? Stephen, Manasseh?
No. Yes, teacher, like, can we start like with the previous year?
Like which one? Like you're starting with the 1976?
Yes.
It is okay. What is important is for you to give us the labeling. If you choose to start with this, you can. So long as you are going to show that what you have painted here or shaded here is the representation you are giving here. Because these units should be represented. If you are saying you are using the 1976 to represent 15, and you want to use this color, maintain it. So long as you are showing it here and you are not changing, there is no problem.
Okay.
It can also be, you can change to have this for here, this one to come here, and this one comes inside. What is important is the other one.
The labeling.
The labeling is the one which is important. And here is actually one, this one is very, very key, because if you don't put it, then it's going to confuse the examiner and you will not know what you are going to talk about. Remember here, you are supposed to put age group. And here you label. If it is in thousands or it is in percentages, you label like we did for the other one. Then here, that is what is important.
Okay.
Okay, my battery is running. My battery is running.